Okay, so today we will discuss the torque of three-phase induction motor. Basically, there are two type of induction motor. One is the squirrel cage induction motor, and second is the wound rotor or slip ring induction motor. In the very first lecture, we discussed that in case of squirrel cage induction motor, it is not possible to add the resistance in rotor circuit. Once the rotor of the three-phase induction motor is designed, it will remain as it is. Whereas in case of slip ring induction motor and a balanced three-phase external resistance is added at the time of starting. So it serves two purposes. One is to reduce the starting current. So it acts as a starter, a rotor side starter. Second, it will also increase some starting torque of the induction motor. So in case of squirrel cage induction motor, we come to know that if suppose this is the torque slip characteristic of motor, so torque slip characteristic of motor is like that. Suppose this is torque, and here the slip is S is equal to 1, and here S is equal to 0. So the slip is increasing in this direction, and speed N is equal to 0 at the time of starting, and here the speed is increasing, speed of motor, and here N is equal to synchronous speed. So the torque is become maximum at some particular value, and this is the starting torque. So this much is the starting torque, whereas this is the maximum torque, T maximum, and T maximum is going to occur at particular value of slip, where slip R2 is equal to, or Sx2 is equal to resistance of the rotor circuit. Now, if the rotor resistance is, say here the rotor resistance is R2, if R2 dash is increased, the resistance of the rotor is increased, the occurrence of maximum torque get increases, whereas the magnitude of maximum torque will remain same. So here the occurrence of maximum torque at which at some particular slip, so speed get differ from here. Say slip 1 S1 is here. For this torque it is S2, and this is for S1, whereas the starting torque of induction motor is higher one for the rotor resistance R2 dash, where R2 dash is greater than R2. It means that if high starting torque is needed from the squirrel cage induction motor, the rotor resistance should be increases. But what is the difficulty to increase in the rotor resistance? Definitely, if you increase the rotor resistance, the continuous copper losses which is going to take place under the normal working condition will be higher one, because rotor copper losses, rotor Cu loss, copper loss is equal to I2 square R2. This will remain present in the motor as long as your motor is in working condition, isn't it? So if the rotor resistance has been increased from R2 to R2 dash, definitely the copper losses will be more, and it will remain as long as the motor is in the working condition, and therefore the efficiency of motor get decreases. Whereas the starting torque is needed only for the starting purpose. Once the starting purpose is over, motor is going to work in this region. This is the region of the motor where it will work under normal working condition. So it means that the torque needed for the starting purpose is momentarily. Once the purpose of starting torque is over, for example, lift, crane, and such type of this one, we do not want resistance to remain in the high resistance to remain in the circuit as long as the motor is running condition. So this is our objective, and this is our question, to remove that external resistance or higher resistance after once the motor get started in the normal working condition. Now consider that there is this wound rotor. What is the advantage of wound rotor? In case of wound rotor, suppose this is the rotor circuit, rotor construction. Over this one, it is provided number of slip rings. 3 slip rings are there on the shaft of the motor, and the wound rotor is connected. Each phase is connected with the slip rings, and slip ring is connected with external resistance, balance external resistance with the help of brushes over there. For starting purpose, the resistance is get added into the rotor circuit, so the starting torque will be higher one. Once the starting torque is over, this total resistance get cut out, and it will make the short circuit at this position. So there is no external resistance in the rotor circuit, and therefore the under running condition only resistance of the rotor will be there, and it will give the a better efficiency. But in case of the slip ring induction motor, there is a continuous rubbing over the brushes. There is a frequent maintenance is needed to replace the brushes are there, and sparking over the brushes also take place in the squirrel cage induction motor. And many of the applications where we do not want any type of sparking, otherwise it will catch the fire, like petrochemical industries. It may be some industries where ethane, methane gases are there. So as a flame proof motor, or there should be a zero say sparking in the plant itself, squirrel cage motor is not advantageous to use, or it is not say advisable to use such motor in case of such type of industries are there. So only the option which remain is the squirrel cage motor. So our objective is to increase the starting torque of 3-phase squirrel cage motor by some say modification in the rotor construction. So highest with our is the high starting torque, of squirrel cage induction motor. Means we want a squirrel cage motor because squirrel cage motor has some other advantage. It is rigid in construction. There is no slip ring. There is no brushes are there, and it is maintenance free motor. It can be made as a flame proof motor, or flame proof cage can be provided. Cooling can be provided for such motors, and it can be used in the dusty area or outdoor area or chemical factories over this one. So there are two type of method by which we can increase the starting torque. So it is quite simple that starting torque is equal to S E2 square R2 upon R2 square plus SX2 bracket square. This is the torque at some particular this one. Okay. Now our objective to increase the resistance in the rotor circuit. And second, first we want to increase the rotor resistance. First, increase rotor resistance. And second objective is to low copper losses. Low copper loss under normal condition or normal working condition is there. Okay. So suppose if the rotor one, say this is the rotor, it is the cage of the rotor is formed in such a way that it is in the form of strips, or there are 3 sections are there. Instead of single copper bar, there are 3 sections in the rotor circuit, and all these bars are connected parallel to each other, means they are connected in each other. Definitely, whenever the stator is connected with the supply, say this is the stator of the rotor, stator of the induction motor, and this is the rotor construction, and we are providing this construction in the rotor itself. Okay. So as soon as the supply is given to the 3-phase stator winding, it produces the magnetic flux, and it is linking with this one. So here we found that the number of fluxes linking to the inner bar or D bar is very high as compared to the flux linkages to the outer bar of the rotor circuit. Means in the rotor circuit, the upper bar, say A, B, and C. A bar will linking with the less number of magnetic flux, B is linking somewhat higher, and C is linking with some, again, higher number of fluxes are there. Now, at the time of starting, when the at start, slip S is equal to 1. So we can say that the rotor frequency F dash is equal to S into F, and it is equal to F dash is equal to F only. So the supply frequency is equal to the rotor frequency is equal to the supply frequency. Now, under such condition, when at the time of starting the rotor's frequency and supply frequency is same, definitely the bar C or the strip C will offer higher reactance, whereas strip A will offer the lower reactance. Under such condition, as they are connected in parallel, so because of uneven or because of unequal impedances or reactances of each bar, the total effective resistance of the rotor circuit become higher one. So the effective resistance of the rotor circuit become higher. So it therefore, under such condition, starting torque is higher. Once the motor pick up the speed, the rotor frequency it start decreasing, because the rotor frequency F dash is become equal to S into F. At some small value of slip, say 0.04 value of slip, 0.05 value of slip, the rotor frequency is very small, and hence under such condition, the reactance of the bar C is very small, or we can say that the reactance becomes equal in the all bars A, B, C over there, and hence the equivalent resistance, as those are connected in parallel, will be very small. So under starting period, it offer the high resistance. Virtually, it will offer the high resistance. Higher resistance, the starting torque will be higher one. Once the motor pick up the speed, reactance become equal. The resistance of the rotor circuit will be very small. So under normal working condition, it does not give the higher copper losses. So this is called as a deep bar construction. It is called as a deep bar rotor construction. Deep bar rotor construction. Okay. Now the second method is the double cage induction motor. Double cage induction motor means that there are two cages. In case of squirrel cage induction motor, the squirrel cage induction motor, the rotors is made up of simply copper bar embedded over the periphery of rotor, and they are short circuited themselves with the help of end rings, isn't it? So this is the copper bar which having the low resistance material, and single cage is there. Now instead of single cage, we are using the double cage. Inside one more cage is there, which is similar to the upper cage. Only the difference is that it is embedded deeply inside the rotor circuit. So suppose this is the rotor surface. Okay, this is the rotor surface. Here the rotor grooves are made to embed the rotor copper bar. Okay. Now the second bar is like this one. So this is the one I'm just explaining, only one periphery of the conductor is there. And now there are a number of copper bars are there. So this is called upper bar, and this is called, this is the second is the lower bar. Okay. So it will, this is the upper cage, and this is the lower cage. It is connected with the each other, so it is remain in the parallel. Lower cage is there. Upper bar is made up of it may be aluminum or it may be a bronze, so that the high is the resistance is higher. So here it is a high value of resistance, and low value of reactance. It is low value of reactance, isn't it? Whereas for this one, it is a high value of reactance and low value of resistance, isn't it? Low value of resistance. Now, similar case is there under starting period. Under starting period, at starting, we found that rotor frequency is equal to supply frequency. Rotor frequency is equal to supply frequency. Therefore, under such condition, the number of fluxes linking with the inner cage is higher one, definitely. The number of fluxes linking with the inner cage is higher one as compared to the flux linkages in the upper cage. So upper cage flux will be smaller. So under starting period, the reactance is low. So just we'll write over this one. So at the time of starting, lower, say first we will case the upper cage. Upper cage condition will be as the flux is higher one at the time of starting, frequency of rotor circuit and supply frequency is same. So under such condition, the upper cage resistance is higher one. Resistance will be higher one. It will okay. And whereas for the lower cage, the reactance with higher one. So here the reactance become very high because large number of fluxes are there and it offer the higher reactance. So when it offer the higher reactance, the current is going to flow from the upper conductors, whereas the upper conductor offer the resistance which having some higher resistance. So it is just similar to the virtually higher resistances at the time of starting. Once at the time of starting, the current is going to flow, rotor current is going to flow from the higher resistance part. So it will offer the high starting torque, isn't it? Once the motor pick up the speed, the rotor frequency S is equal to S into F, where S is equal to here, S is equal to 1, definitely at the time of starting, where S is equal to say 0.05 or it may be a 0.03 is there. So under such condition, the value of this reactance, high value of reactance means high value of reactance instead of reactance we will call as a inductance. Okay, inductance, because of it offer the low reactance part. Are you getting it? Here the frequency is higher one. First case, slip is equal to 1. The frequency is higher one. So under such condition, high inductance offer high reactance. Therefore, current shifted from lower cage to the upper cage, whereas the upper cage is made up of high resistive material. Therefore, it offer the high, or it will develop the high starting torque at the time of starting, isn't it? Once the motor pick up the speed, starting torque purpose is over. Under such condition, the frequency is small. When the frequency is small, definitely the reactance X is equal to twice pi FL. For any case, this value goes to the very small value. So under such condition, the value of this one, lower cage, will be very small, and therefore the current shifted from higher resistance to the lower reluctance part, or lower reactance part, isn't it? So under normal working condition, lower cage carries current I2, whereas in the starting period, this upper is going to take place the current of starting current. So starting current is going to flow from the resistive path, higher resistive path, whereas normal current is going to flow from the low resistance path. So our purpose solve to introduce some external resistance or introduce some higher resistance at the time of starting, which provide high starting torque of the three-phase induction motor. Once the starting torque purpose is over, motor pick up the speed. Under normal working condition, the current is going to flow from the low resistance path, and hence the copper losses under running condition will be small. So by using D bar construction or by using double cage induction motor, whatever the difficulty, whatever the drawback of three-phase squirrel cage induction motor is can be overcome. But there is a slight change. Definitely the copper losses in double cage induction motor is slightly higher, isn't it? But by proper combination of starting torque and this one, it can be made properly, and it will give the same advantage as that of the slip ring induction motor. So the slip ring induction motor has only one advantage, is that it has a high starting torque. So this high starting torque also be obtained in case of squirrel cage motor only by providing a double cage induction motor is there. Okay, so now what would be the say torque slip characteristic of double cage induction motor? Okay, so again we will draw the torque slip characteristic of three-phase induction motor. So this is the slip. Slip is increasing in this direction. Here slip is equal to S is equal to 0, S is equal to 1, speed is equal to 0, and speed is increasing in this direction, and speed is equal to synchronous speed. Okay, now here torque. So the maximum torque is going to occur depend upon the resistance and reactance of this one. So say this is the torque of inner cage, torque of say the first is the lower cage rotor, lower cage one. This is as usual, so it is a lower cage. Now the torque developed by upper cage, torque developed by upper cage or outer cage. So this is torque due to, just a minute. So torque due to upper cage. This is torque due to upper cage or outer cage. And finally, the equivalent torque or the useful torque, total torque is the, in this way, this is the total torque. Total torque, the maximum torque does not increase. It is the occurrence of maximum torque get changes. So this is the total torque, and we found this is our starting torque. So see, the earlier the starting torque is very small. Earlier the starting torque T start in the first case is very small. By the second case, if you consider that one, definitely the maximum torque will be very small, isn't it? And it does not give the proper operation or efficiency. The losses is continuously going to take place inside this one. Whereas this is the maximum torque we are getting as near to the as usual. This is the value of slip S1 or S2 as per our requirement, and high starting torque can be obtained. So our conclusion is that by using the double cage induction motor or deep bar construction induction motor, the drawback of single cage induction motor can be overcome. The drawback is that only it provides the low starting torque. So this low starting torque can be overcome with the help of double cage induction motor. So this is the one. Now we will see the there are different type of starters we can use for the starting of induction motor, because induction motor takes a large current at the time of starting, and if you are using without any starter or without any arrangement to reduce the starting current, definitely it will damage the motor winding, as well as the instruments those are connected on the distribution also get the voltage dips into the distribution network over there. So if first we'll take the starters in the three-phase induction motor. So starter can be used in the stator side, and it can be used as a rotor side. So rotor side, there is only one rotor side starter. It is called as a slip ring induction motor starter. So it is used only for the slip ring induction motor, because in case of squirrel cage induction motor, we cannot connect or we cannot connect any type of resistance or any component in the rotor circuit. Whereas on the stator side, it is called as a DOL, direct online starter. It is a direct online starter. Second is the rotor stator resistance starter. Third is the star delta starter, and fourth is the auto transformer starter. So a starter is used to limit the starting current, and in addition to limit the starting current, some type of protection can be provided in case of starters are there, like overcurrent protection, under voltage protection, or the say single phasing protection. So whatever the different possible protection can be provided for any case of any type of starters to protect the motor from the overloading, from under voltage, from the single phasings are there. Say example, we will take a very simple example of DOL, direct online. Say DOL starter. DOL starter stand for direct online starters. Direct online starter means there is no means to reduce the starting current. Here, our objective is not to reduce the starting current, whereas only it will give the some sort of protection under voltage, over voltage, some type of say single phasing protector can be adopted. It can be used some external switching. It may be for the automation purposes, automatic on, automatic off. Such type of things can be or these things can be incorporated in all type of starters, no doubt. But dual starter is one type of starter where some protection can be used. Okay, this type of starter is used only up to say 7.5 HP motor, because for the 7.5 HP motors the current is not such a higher one. But if the current become very high, definitely the starting current of induction motor is equal to 7 times full load current. For example, the current is 10 ampere, full load current of the 7.5 HP is 10 ampere. So starting current will be up to the 50 ampere. So now the 50 ampere is somewhat manageable in the system. It is for the momentarily say half a minute is there and it is sustainable. But if suppose the motor is 40 HP motor is there, okay, 40 HP motor is there and current is 60 ampere, a full load current is 60 ampere is there. This is the full load current is 60 ampere. Now 60 multiplied by 7, so it is very high. So that high value of current cannot be it cannot be sustained in our distribution system. Therefore, the dual starter is used only for up to the 7.5 HP or generally up to the 5 HP motors are there. Okay. So now this is the starters single one. I'm going to just say this is the some overload relay is connected. As soon as the current goes to the some particular limit, it can be stopped. So this is the one contactors are there to switch on the supply. So this is the contactors, and this is contactor is connected with the plunger, electromagnetic plunger, and one more contactor is there. External contactors are there. Okay, this is the external contactor. And now these terminals are connected to the motor. This connected to the induction motor, three-phase induction motor is there. Now, say this is from, we'll take the one switch is there. Okay, so this is the switch. It is a start switch is there. It is connected parallel with the external contactor, and this is connected in series with the stop button. Stop button is always normally closed, and it is connected in series with the holding coil or plunger, isn't it? So this is the control circuit. So this is called as a control circuit, whereas this is called as a power circuit. Okay. Now, as soon as we switch on the supply, the current flows into the plunger. It will attract it's in this direction. So this contactor is going to close. This contactor is going to close. The current is going to the supply is connected with the induction motors. And this is a normally open contactor, so it will open the contact, whereas the current is going to flow from the external contactor, and the motor will remain in the running position. Now, as soon as you give the stop position, stop button, so this is going to open. So it will open the current in the holding coil, and because of spring tension, the plunger again move to the off position. So this is your off positions are there. So this can be excellent with the help of some control key diagram is there. Say this terminal is R phase, and this is Y, and this is B phase. So B phase, we will start from the B phase. B phase is connected with the start button. So there is a start button. It is a normally open. Normally open means as soon as you push the button, it will close, and as soon as you release the hand or pressure, again it will become open one. In this one, there is a one external contactor. So this is the external contactor or auxiliary contactor K. Say name, we'll give the name K, auxiliary contactor. So if you close this one, this is going to connect over this one. Now there is a stop push button. A stop push button is always normally closed. This is normally open. This is normally closed. So it is a stop button, and it is a start button. Okay. After that, there is a holding coil. So this is the holding coil. H we will represent as a holding coil, and this is the phase B, and this is phase R. So now see, you can we can explain, we can understand very well. As soon as we switch on the button, the current is going to flow from this conductor. It will energize the coil. This energizing the coil, the plunger move in this direction. So it will make the contact from here. It will make the contact, and now the motor get the supply. And at the same time, this contactor also closes. So this conductor also closes. So the current in the control circuit flow from the auxiliary contact to the stop button and to the holding coil to the next phase. isn't it? So the motor will remain on even though your start button is open. Now, if you want to stop the motor, simply push the stop button. After pushing the stop button, this is get open. This is get open. So a coil get de-energized. After the coil de-energized, the plunger come to the off position along because of the spring tension, isn't it? So this is the on and off. Suppose if you want to make the motor automatic switch on, but as soon as the temperature reaches some particular value, so whatever the number of start button, automatic start button is needed for the particular application. Okay, so you just add the number of contactors in parallel for starting the motor by the remote operation, or by the some as soon as the pressure is reaches to particular lower value, motor should on. So all automatic start buttons are connected in parallel, whereas all stop buttons are connected in series. So this is your series button. Series stop button is there. One more stop button we can add with the help of some external arrangement. So like some compressors are there, it is automatically on and off. So this automatically on and off can be done with the help of starters. So a starter comprises of some control circuit which will control the motor on and off, whereas the second circuit is the power circuit which will deliver the power to the motors. So a starter is not only to limit the starting current, whereas this is used to make the system automation, as well as it reduce the starting current. It also produces some type of protection. Suppose the current is more than 10 ampere. Suppose the motor is 10 ampere current. As soon as the current reaches to more than 10 ampere, this is give some signal, or it will give the trip signal to the motor, and motor get stopped. So automatic on and off can be carried out. Similarly, if the voltage, holding coil voltage is 400, suppose the voltage reaches to the 370 volt, this holding coil de-energize, and it will protect the motor from under voltage system.